Fellas, under the weather. So what is this thing? I am attempting to make a thunderspin fly. I've just found this fly, thunderspin. Basically a homemade spinner bait. You see that swivel I have incorporated there? It's supposed to have a spinner blade on it, but I don't have any spinner blades. So this will be part one of this video until I can get the spinner blades in. You've seen various swim baits and various crankbaits that have a spinner incorporated on the back, and there's a hook on the bottom, oftentimes a treble hook. But here I'm thinking the spinner, the Thunder Spin Fly, is a great fly. I'm not trying to copy exactly what he's doing, but typically with a Thunder Spin Fly, you would put a swivel here, a double swivel here, traditional swivel, and put the blade there, but I think that would interfere. So I think I may have a better way to do it with my long pole swivels, to set it up higher, get it out of the way so that the hook is not, the barb of the hook is not disturbed. This is a 2/0 hook, 3366 Mustad, and this is a I forget the name of the thing. This is a 3/0 hook, O'Shaughnessy, basically very similar. You can make these things in whatever color you want, but we're going to go with that classic Mickey fin coloration simply because it works well in my waters. 2/0 hook, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're starting with, I forget, what is that stuff called? It's just called thread. It's a nylon thread, synthetic thread. Got it from the sewing place. And then you need one of my pole swivels here, or if you have a regular swivel you can tie it in the back. But here, obviously far too long. Cut him about right there. These big wire thingies, still a bit too long. Want to tie it in fairly close to the hook here. Okay, that's the first one. Sorry for the sniffles. You see the difference in the length. You may not be able to see, may not be enough contrast there. Doesn't help that I'm wearing a black shirt. See if I can rotate around there, get a little contrast. Yeah, there we go. Tie it in right here over the top. Now this should look familiar to you for those of you who have seen my other flies where I have double hooks on them, a hook tailing. It's the same rig, it's just instead of a hook we're now putting a spinner back there. I'll try to link, I think there's the Ohio Fly Tying has a good article on this fly, and I think there's a few good articles on it. But this is a fascinating fly. It seems to incorporate a lot of the things I was trying to do with my Polydogers. As you can see with the Polydogger, you have the Dodger disc up front, whereas what this does is put a spinner out back. You know, it's a different way of trying to solve the same problem. Super glue, I've given up on trying to use a little spout, and so super glue. Touching turns on the way back up, but loose turns on the way down. And see, I like this better because the hook is still the #1 thing that's going to catch the fish. I've never fished with this fly, but I plan to tie a few to take it on a future trip, hopefully. Here we go, small rattles. Big rattle, small rattle. Small rattle hardly does much, but it does add a little bit of an underbody. I'm going to go with the small rattle simply because it'll be easier to wrap. And now I got to get dirty. Got to get my hands on the super glue. It's the part I hate about these super glue flies. Touching turns on the way back up. More super glue on that, on all that thread. It's all about the super glue, guys. I know I'm not sounding too energetic today, but I am not feeling good, and this weather's no good. This is that real damp fall weather that makes you sick, you know. Okay, this is how we do this. All right, little head cold. It's just a little head cold. When we wrap this back forward a bunch of times, cover up all that stuff there. The smaller bead is much easier to cover. Typically in this situation, chenille would be much easier to work with. I'm going to be honest with you, but on a value per dollar basis, you just can't beat wool. This is wool from like Walmart. They like, you know, ladies make their sweaters and stuff with crochet or whatever. There we go. Tell you what we're gonna do. Yep. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. Snip that guy off. Can't find my other, oh yeah, here goes my other snips. These are dull and I never sharpen them, so these are the sharper ones. Much faster or whatever. And as you see, kind of gives a little hairy, sort of fluffy hairy. That's good. What next? We need some crystal flash for the undergullet, symbolize the scales of the fish. And why does crystal flash sound like a controlled substance? It's just a sort of a rainbow colored mylar. Oh, how did I do this? Okay, so it always takes me a while to remember things, especially if I'm not quite feeling too well. So that's what we're going to do there. Always do this with, put some kind of flash in my flies. I love, and I am going to shorten these all out like that. Okay, just like that. And see how they splay out like that? Okay, deer hair, a bucktail, yellow, red, yellow combo that works incredibly well on my waters. Because I don't buy lures, guys. I mean, I don't. I just, why buy them when I can sit right here and invent whatever I need to, whenever I need to. A little bit longer hair, a little bit too much hair actually. About like that. I'm going to do something like, come on, really? Should have put in the crystal flash last. See how it's splaying out? That's exactly what I want it to do. Put another thing of yellow. Yellow, red, yellow. It's your classic Mickey fin coloration. I would not call this a Mickey fin. It's just, this is a color pattern that's proven in my waters, especially for spotted bass. They love this color. And so, my goodness, if we put like a gold spinner on this thing, we might have the lure for spotted bass. Okay, so bam, half hitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too many there. Yeah, that should have just gone on my standard 3 whip finish. But there's a first one, or this is the second one I've made like this. You can hear that. Yeah, that rattle is doing its job. Ah, the life of a custom tackle shop owner. You're always working. People think if you work for yourself, you won't have to do what anybody says. Nope. How many subscribers do I have? This channel has, what, 4,000 subscribers, basically? That's how many bosses I have. Because if you don't do what they want, they don't want to pay you for anything. When we ought to go mismatched. Put one gold and one red. That would be fun. Oh, come on. Really? Optical illusion. There's no way I could tie this particular fly on a traditional fly tying vise that didn't have the rotary function. It would just be, I mean, you could, but it'd be just, now that's that. Looks like a chicken to me. It's not necessarily the prettiest, but there's a subtle rattle in there. There's a subtle rattle in there. And if we put a number 3, a number 4, number 5 spinner on there, that'll add some thump to it. And you add, but you know, you just have to stay tuned till part 2, because the reality is I have 0 spinners, and I'm gonna have to get on Jan's Netcraft, order some spinners, so we can test this out further, because I want to see what this can do. You know, just imagine a Colorado spinner for maximum thump. You could go willow, but you don't need a willow spinner when you have all that flash and all these bright colors. Don't need a willow spinner for flash. Just use get the vibration. And when you have that big old spinner blade on there, plus that little swivel on there, plus those bright colors, you've got a lure there that's should be able to catch some largemouth bass. Show and tell, and I think I'm gonna go get some lunch, fellas. So stay tuned for part 2 of the Thunder Spin fly.